Hello everyone, my name is Akshat Pandya. I am from SGSITS College. Currently I am in third year in Computer Science branch. In this video, I shall be explaining the software development lab project which I have made using the Python programming language. This video, I shall be giving a tutorial of the Python programming language, the basics of the language, and also we would cover about the pandas library which I have used for making the CW calculator project. So let's start the video. So in the first portion of the video, we will discuss what are modules, what are comments, and what is the use of PIP command. So if we consider a module is a file which contains some code which is written by somebody else. By somebody else, we mean the code which has already been written into the Python libraries by the developers. We can just import a module into our project and can use the methods and other functionalities of that module into our project. We need not write that code again. We can directly use that module into our project. Basically, there are two types of modules. First one is the built-in method. First one is called as the built-in methods, means which come pre-installed in Python. Second one are the external methods, which uh, which we need to import from the other packages using the PIP command. Let's understand the use of PIP command through an example. Suppose we want to integrate the Flask library into our project. So we will have to write PIP install Flask. So as you saw, the Flask library got installed into our project and it is now ready for use. In this way, you can include the libraries and modules into your project. Now let's learn how to write print statement in Python. This is the syntax for writing a print statement in Python. As you can see, the output is coming as expected. Now let's learn what are comments. Comments are used to describe the it is used to add description to the program. Comments make the program more readable and understandable. Comments also help to resolve confusions and improve the readability of the code. Majorly, there are two types of comments. First one is the single line comment. You can just create a single line comment by typing hash and followed by whatever content you need to place in the comment. This way we create single line comment. Now let's learn how to create multi-line comment. For multi-line comment, we need to enclose the contents within the three single semicolons. And all the contents which are placed in this will act as multi-line comment. These comments have no impact on the execution of the program. The output of the program will still be same. As I mentioned earlier, comments have one objective, that is to make the program more descriptive and readable. Let's start another section of the Python programming, that is variables and data types. Majorly, we see in Python there are five broad categories of variables, which are integer, floating point, string, boolean, and none. Integer are basically represents all the integers on the number line, and it has a range from minus 2 raised to the power 32 to plus 2 raised to the power 32 minus 1. It can be of it is of 64-bit. Then comes the floating point number. It is used to represent the decimal numbers, both positive and negative. String. What are strings? String is a sequence of characters. Each character has an index associated with it. There are three ways to create strings in Python. First one is making use of double quotes. Second one is making use of single quotes. And third one is making use of triple quotes in this way. So this is how a string can be created in Python. Next comes the Boolean. Boolean variable can only have two types of values, either true or false. Then comes the null, none. None is similar to null. Null value, if you are familiar with it in Java or C, the none data type is the none variable is similar to null in Java. It represents that no data has been stored in a variable. Now let's understand the operators. First of all, let's learn about arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. They are binary operators, means they require at least two operands to perform any operation. Same goes with the assignment operator. This is a simple example which demonstrates the use of assignment operator. And this is a simple example which demonstrates the use of arithmetic operator. Let's run this code to have a better clarity. There is some error. As you can see, the output is coming now as expected. We took the value of A as 10, B as 20, and the sum got printed to 30. Now let's understand the use of type operator. Type operator is used to determine the data type of a variable. Let's suppose we have a variable in which some data is stored. We want to determine the type of this variable. We can simply write type A. As you can see, it is coming as float, which is exactly the data type of variable A. Now let's learn the use of escape sequence. First of all, let's understand the use of a new line, backslash n escape sequence. It is used to insert a new line in a string. Let's understand it with the help of an example. As you can see, line 1 and line 2 are coming in two separate lines, which is exactly the role of backslash n character escape sequence. Now let's understand the use of tab space escape sequence. It is used to insert a tab space. As you can see, the line 1 and line 2 got separated by a tab space. Similarly, in order to insert a backspace, we use this. In order to insert a single quote, we use this. As you can see, a single quote got inserted in between of line 1 and line 2. So this was all about escape sequence in Python. In this lecture, we learned about the variables and data types. We learned about the categories of variables, arithmetic operators, assignment operators, What is the use of type operator? How can we use it to determine the data type of a variable? What are escape sequence in Python? In the next video, we shall be learning about the strings in Python and what are the important functions of string in Python. We'll be discussing about strings in Python. We will discuss about all the important methods of string class. We'll learn how to create string in Python, what are the different ways in which you can create string in Python, and what do you mean by immutability. So let's start the video. First of all, let's understand the definition of string. What is a string? String is a sequence of characters. Each character of a string is associated with an index number. The index numbers in a string start from 0 and go up till the length of the string minus 1. Suppose we have a string hello, so it starts from index 0 and goes up till 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the three ways in which we can write a string in Python. First of all is within double quotes, next is within single quotes, and next is within triple single quotes. So let's try to print the value of a string. As you can see, the string apple got displayed. Now let's learn how to display a single character of the string. So it can be done in similar way we access array elements in Java. It is like name of the string and the character whatever you want to display, index number of that character. Suppose you want to display L, so it is 0, 1, 2 and 3. So as you can see, L got displayed over here. So now let's learn what is string slicing. Slicing is basically creation of substrings from an existing string. Suppose we need to create substrings from an existing string. So that can be done using slicing. The syntax of slicing is of the format A:B, where A represents the starting from where we need to slice. So let's suppose we need to slice this portion of the string. So we'll write 0 in place of A, and we need A, P, P, L, E means 5 characters. So 0 plus 5. So now you can see from apple is the red string, we extracted apple. That's how we do it. Suppose we want to extract this portion. So we will write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 in place of A, and since there are two characters, 6 plus 2, we will write 8. So it will display is. Let's learn about some important functions which are very much frequently used in string class. First of all is the len function. It is used to display the length of the string. The output of this will be 5. Ends with, it is a boolean function. It is used to it returns a boolean value. It is used to check that a given string ends with a certain string or not. Like suppose for an example, let's consider the string hello. We want to check that whether hello ends with LO. So we wrote s dot ends with LO. The output of this will be true, since hello ends with L and O, that is correct. As you can see here, true is coming. Starts with, it's just the opposite of it. It is used to check that whether a particular string starts with a given set of characters or not. Output of this also would be true, as you can see over here. Now count. Suppose in a string we want to count that how many times a certain character occurred. So we can just type s dot count and the character, the count of which you need to find. Suppose we want to determine how many times t occurred. So we'll write s dot count t and it will display here 2. Since catastrophe has 2 times T occurred in it. How to capitalize a string means return a string, just make the first character of it capital. So the output came out to be CAT with C capital. Now let's understand what is the use of find. Find keyword is used to determine that whether a substring is a part of a given string or not. And if it is a part, it returns the index from which it starts. Like suppose we tried to search for XYZ in doctor. Since XYZ is not a part of doctor, the function returned -1. Let's try it for OCT. OCT is a part of the string, so it should return index of O, that is 1. So as you can see, 1 is coming over here. Now, replace is also an important method which is very much frequently used in string class. It is used to replace one substring with the another. Like, let's print the value of s dot replace. We will replace world with everyone. So the output of it will be hello everyone instead of hello world. Yeah, so as you can see here, some error is coming. Let me resolve that. Okay, let's try to rerun the code. Okay, now it is running perfectly. You can see hello everyone is getting written. Now you guys might be wondering that if we replaced world with everyone in this string and then again when we tried to display that string we got hello world again instead of hello everyone. The reason for that is the actual string did not got replaced. We received a new string as return value from this replace function. We cannot modify the value of hello world because strings are immutable in Python. That if we change the hello world to hello green, so a new string will be created in the memory hello green, not the actual hello world will get modified. This is because strings are immutable in Python. Once a string is created, it will continue to exist in the memory until and unless the program execution gets completed. Immutability also may create a memory overhead because multiple strings may get created which refer to the same value. So in this lecture, we shall be discussing about lists and tuples in Python. You will understand what is a list, what is a tuple, what is the basic use of them. We will also learn what are some of the important methods of list and tuple. So first of all, what are lists? List you can imagine them just like a container which can be used to store a set of values of any data type. List is different from an array. An array is a collection of similar type of data elements, whereas in a list in lists in Python, we can store the data elements of different data type collectively. As you can see in this example, one is a string, integer, string, float value, boolean, and none. All these are of different types, but still we can place them into a single list. This is the way we can print a list. And to create a list, we use a square brackets and place the elements inside them. Now let's learn what is slicing of the list. First of all, let's run this portion of the code. So as you can see, all the elements of the list got printed. Now let's learn what is slicing of a list. Before slicing, let's understand one thing, that each element of a list is associated with an index. Hello has an index 0, this has index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. Suppose we want to display element at a specific index in the list. So we can just write, as you can see, world got displayed at index number 2. Okay, now let's learn what is slicing in a list. Similar to what we learned in slicing in strings lecture, slicing is the process of extracting a portion of the list. Like suppose if we want only the elements from index number 1 till index number 3 to get printed, then we would write list square brackets 1 colon. Since we want 3 elements from this, so we would add 3 to 1, that is 4. So 3 elements starting from index number 1 got printed, that is this, this, and this. Now let's learn what are some of the important methods in list. First of all, which is the most frequently used method, is the sort method. It is used to sort the list into an ascending or descending order. By default, it sorts the list into an ascending order. As you can see, the list got displayed printing in an ascending order. List.reverse, as the name suggests, it is used to reverse the list. This is the output of the method. Each element of the list got reversed. As you can see, all the elements of the above list got reversed. List.append. List.append method is used to add an element at the end of a list. Suppose this is a list and we want to add 100 at the end of this list, then we can simply run list.append 100. This will append 100 at the end of the list. So as you can see, 100 got appended at the end of the list. Now let's understand the usage of insert function in the list. Insert function of list is used to insert a specific element at a specific index in the list. Suppose we want to insert element 500 at index number 2. So you would write list.insert 2, comma 500, means 500 to be inserted at index number 2 of the list. So as you can see, 500 got inserted at index number 2. List.pop. Pop method is used to pop the element at a specific index of the list. So basically this line of code will remove the index element at index number 2 from the list. As you can see, 500 was at index number 2, it got removed from the list. List.remove. Now, this method is similar to pop method, but pop method takes the index of the element to be removed. But list.remove is used to remove an item from the list. We need to just pass that item as parameter. Like in this list, we need to remove 331. So we pass 331 as parameter and it got removed from the list. In this lecture, we shall be discussing what are conditional expressions in Python. We will learn what are logical operators and how to use them with conditional expressions and how to create conditional expressions. So let's start the video. First of all, let us learn what are logical operators. In Python, there are three types of logical operators. Basically, they are AND, OR, and NOT. The AND returns true if both of the items next to them are yeah. AND operator returns true if both of the items to the left and right of the AND operator are true. Otherwise, if either of them is false, it returns false. OR operator returns true if either of the elements on the left or right is true. And the NOT operator is used to invert a Boolean value. Like if we do NOT of false, then the output will be true. NOT of true will be false, and vice versa. So now let's use these logical operators to understand conditional expressions. What are conditional expressions? Conditional expressions, as the name suggests, they are the expressions which are used to perform conditional operations. Like basically, there are three types of conditional expressions in Python. One is the if else, one is the if else if, and one is the enhanced switch case. In this video, we shall be learning about if else and if else if later. First of all, let's understand the use of if else. Let's make a simple program to check if a person is eligible to vote or not. The age of the person is set to 21. We put a condition. If age is greater than 21, then some set of operations, else some another set of operations. Let's try to run this code. As you can see, the output is you can vote. So basically, this set of statement got executed. Now similarly, let's learn the use of if else if conditional expression. The if else if conditions, yes. So first of all, this condition will get checked. If it turns out to be true, then this statement will get executed. If not, then this will get checked. If again it turns out to be true, then this will be printed. If it is false, then again this condition will be checked. If it is true, then this will be displayed. Otherwise, if none of the above condition turns out to be true, then this will be printed. In either way, one of the sections will get executed. The condition of whatsoever block turns out to be true, that set of statements get executed. Like let's understand this through a simple example. We are making a program to check which of the three number is the greatest. So as you can see, the output is 7 is greatest. So what happened here is this statement got executed. Since 5 is smaller than both, so it turned out to be false. Then this got executed. Again 2 is smaller, so again its statement turned out to be false. I guess this is extra. Okay. And after this, since no statement, none of the above statements was true, finally the else block got executed and 7 is greatest. This line got displayed on the terminal. As you can see, 7 is greatest. It is getting displayed on the terminal. So in this lecture, we discussed what are conditional expressions. We learned about the two types of conditional expressions. One is if and one is if else. We also learned the usage of logical operator and how to use logical operators to create relational expressions in Python. In the next lecture, we shall be discussing about the iteratives. What are the iterative statements and what are the different types of iterative statements in Python. We'll basically learn about the for loop and while loop. You will understand their syntax through various examples. We shall be discussing what are loops in Python, what are the different types of loops, and how to use them to create some programs. We'll also make some sample problems and using for loop and while loop. So let's start the video. First of all, let us understand what are loops. So loop statements, they are used to execute a set of instructions for repetitive number of times. Suppose I want to display hello world 10 times. Instead of writing it 10 times, I can just place it within a loop that iterates for 10 times. As you can see, the hello world got displayed for 10 times. Now, let's understand. So this was the syntax for loop. Let's understand the syntax for while loop. Here we'll write the condition. This is the indentation. So this is how we do it with the help of while statement. Again, you see 10 times hello world got printed. We went into an infinite loop with this because we didn't increment the value of I with each iteration. Now the code should run fine. As you can see, hello world got displayed for 10 times. So let's understand how to create, let's make a sample program which is used to determine the factorial of a number in Python. Let's make it first using for loop. First of all, here we took input from the user, input as integer, we typecasted the input to integer format. Now, then we specified the range, then we went inside the for loop, calculated the factorial, and then we displayed it with the help of the print statement. Let's execute this code. So as you can see, it is prompting us to enter a number. Let's enter 5. As you can see, the factorial is coming out perfectly. Now let's write the same piece of code using the while loop. So in while loop, we need to separately create the iteration variable. Here we write the condition. Here we write the increment decrement statement. This is the program used to calculate the factorial of a number, but this time we made use of while loop. As you can see, this is the condition placed over here. This is the initialization. This is the operation, and this is the increment decrement statement. And this is the indentation for while loop. Let's try to run this code. As you can see, the output is coming perfectly fine, which is 120. Now let's understand the use of break keyword and continue keyword. The break keyword is used to come out of the loop. Means suppose a loop is going to run for 10 times and we want to run it in between and we want to stop the loop immediately in between if a certain condition occurs. So in that case we make use of break statement. Like let's understand this with the help of an example. We are trying to display a range of numbers from 1 to 9. We place the condition that if the value of variable gets equal to 5, immediately break the loop. Let's try to run the code. So as you can see, the numbers were getting displayed from 1 till 4, but immediately as 5 occurred, we came out of the loop. So this is the use of break statement. Now let's understand the use of continue. Continue keyword, instead of taking exit from the loop, it just sends the iteration to the next step. Means suppose if the value of current iteration variable is 5, and we want that if the value of iteration variable is 5, we skip the iteration. So in that case, we use the continue keyword. Let's run the code for better understanding. So as you can see, each number got displayed from 1 to 9 except for 5. Why this happened? Because we wrote a condition that if the value is equal to 5, then skip that iteration and move to the next iteration. This is done through the continue keyword. So in this lecture we discussed what are iterative statements. Iterative statements are used to execute a set of instructions for multiple times. We learned what is the syntax for for loop, what is the syntax of while loop, what is the minor difference between them. We also created a sample program used to determine the factorial of a number. We made that using for loop and while loop. We also learned what is the use of break keyword and what is the use of continue keyword. In this lecture, we shall be discussing what are functions in Python. So, what are functions? Functions basically they are used to prevent the redundancy of code. Redundancy means repeating a certain set of statements for multiple times within a code. That is called as redundancy. And to prevent them, we make use of functions. In Python, there are two types of functions. One is the built-in function and one are the user-defined functions. Built-in functions are those functions which are predefined in Python libraries, and it is not required by us to understand those functions. We just need to understand the purpose of those functions, and this is a way in which Python provides abstraction and makes simple for those functions to be used by us into our programs. For example, the print is a built-in function which we use to display something on the terminal. User-defined functions are the ones which can be created by the user for performing the operations as required by the program. Now, let's understand how to write a function. This is the syntax for writing a function. We started with def keyword. Then we write the function name. Then within the brackets, we write the parameters if they are required within a function. Currently, let's leave the parameters section and just write this is a function. Let's call the function one and see what is the output. So as you can see, the statement written within that function got displayed over here. Now let's try to run a function which takes some parameters. So it takes 2 and 3 as input and returns 5 by performing the addition of those values. In this way we can return a value from the function. So let's make a simple program to display the numbers from start from x to y, where x and y are the starting and ending ranges. Let's call this function. I want to display the numbers from 1 till 10. As you can see, the numbers got printed from 1 to 10. Now let's understand what are default parameters in a function. Default value parameters. As you saw in the previous examples, we didn't mention the default value of this. Like, it was mandatory for us to specify the value of these parameters. Even if we skip either one of the parameter, we will get an error. As you can see, we got an error because one parameter was missing over there. But what if we want that if we don't specify a parameter, then it gets pre-assumed. So that exactly is the use case for default valued parameter. Like, suppose I called the function greet. It accepts a string type value. So first of all, I mentioned some string. So it displayed hello Rahul. Now suppose I didn't give any input as parameter, but still instead of displaying error, it displayed hello human because human was set as the default value of this string name. So when we did not specify the parameter, the value of that parameter was assumed as this default value. Now let's understand an important concept of function, that is recursion. Recursion is a process in which the function calls itself. That is called fundamentally recursion. The function calls itself and the values gets built up in the call stack. Recursion can be an alternative to iterative statements. Let's try to solve the problem of factorial through the recursion. As we saw in the earlier part of the video, we solved the same problem using iterative statements. Let's try to solve the problem with the help of recursive function. The function accepts a number integer as an input. If the value of that number equal to 1, then we will return just 1. Otherwise, we would return number multiplied by factorial of number minus 1. So as you can see, inside the factorial, we called the factorial itself. So this is called as recursion. Now let's try to check the output of this. As you can see, output is coming perfectly fine, that is 120. So in this lecture, we learned about the basics of functions. What are functions? Functions are a set of instructions which can be called multiple times within a program. The main objective of functions is to reduce the redundancy of code and make the code more modular and readable. There are two types of functions: built-in function and user-defined function. Built-in functions are those which are already present in the Python. In the libraries, we can just directly call those functions and use them into a program. Whereas user-defined functions are those which are created by the user for performing specific operations within the program. Default value. Then we learned about parameters in function, no parametered function, parametered function, and default value parametered function. At the end, we also understood what is recursion. Recursion is a process in which a function calls itself and the values get built up in the call stack. As the function gets executed, the functions pop out of the call stack and the stack becomes empty at the end. So this was all about this lecture. In the next lecture, we shall be learning how to import the pandas library into our Python project and how to perform basic operations using pandas. In this section, we shall be learning what is series and what are data frames in Pandas library. After that, we will have a quick review at the CW calculator application which is made using the Pandas library. First of all, what is a series? Series is a single dimensional array like object in Pandas. It is used to store data of any type. It can be used to store data which is of the type integer, string, float, etc. Each value of the series has a corresponding index associated with it. It is just like a column in data frame, but the column of single data dimension. For using that, you need to install pandas using pip install pandas. After that, you can import the pandas package into your existing code file. Now let's learn how to create a series. In earlier section, we learned how to create a series, but in that the index values were 0, 1, 2, 3 by default. Let's learn how to assign a specific index value. Suppose corresponding to 85, we want the index something as math. For 90 English, 75 science, 88 history. Basically, these are the indexes only, but instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, we have overridden the values as math, English, science, and history. When you try to print them now, instead of printing the index numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, they are printing the index names, which we have allocated them over here. Let's learn how to access the data in series. Accessing the data in series is similar to the usage of arrays in Java or C++. You need to just write the name of the series, and after that you need to specify the index. Let's learn how to perform an operation. For example, let's perform an operation to check all the subjects in which the marks are greater than 80. So inside the square brackets we place the condition that marks should be greater than 80. This means that we need to filter all the elements of the series for which the marks value is greater than 80. So as you can see, they are getting displayed in the output below. Let's learn about data frame. What is a data frame? Data frame is a two-dimensional tabular data structure in Pandas. It consists of labeled rows and columns. They are similar to spreadsheet or SQL tables, where each column can hold different data types such as integer, string, float, etc. It is widely used for data analytics and manipulation. In earlier lecture, we learned how to create a data frame. We need to place them in curly brackets just like a JSON data. After that, we need to specify the parameter names, and then in a list we need to specify the type of values which that parameter can hold. Once this is done, we can directly display the value of the data frame. So as you can see, the value of the data frame is getting displayed over here. Using these things, we have made a project which is CW calculator. The main aim of the project is to analyze an Excel file which contains the data of the students, and based on that data calculate the CW score of the student. There are also multiple schemes involved like best of all scheme, average scheme, which can be used to determine the value of parameter separately. Let's run the project. It basically asks us to select the Excel file. Once Excel file is selected, we need to enter some primary data here. Like let's suppose the number of attendance classes held were 80, number of lab attendances were 15, maximum assignment marks were 20, quiz marks 20, weightage for attendance was 20%, labs weightage was 10%, for assignments the weightage was 40%, and for quizzes it was 30%. Let's select the schemes which we want to apply. Once this is done, an Excel document will get generated which contains the results. This is the generated document. So as you can see, the CW marks have gotten calculated for each of the students. Let me show you the sample data which we had used for this operation. This was the sample data on which we performed the operation. Thank you for watching this video.